Good afternoon or good morning. My name is Trish Sangster and I'm very pleased to be able to make you this short video as part of the application process for the role of the Learning and Development Specialist. You asked a little bit about me. I've got over 30 years experience as a learning development project manager in a range of different organisations. I've worked in the private, public and not-for-profit sectors. Some of the things that I've done include setting up appraisal processes in 3 or 4 different organisations. I've set up a learning and development shared service for a national charity. I've put in place the leadership development programme for Virgin Trains, brought in a coaching culture for Virgin Trains, and also done quite a lot of work around Investors in People over the years, taking Virgin Trains through Investors in People twice. When I'm not working, I'm a keen photographer and I also enjoy choral singing. In terms of the why I'm interested in the role, first of all, it's because it is public sector and I'm very keen to work back in the public sector. It actually means something to me to be working for the people in the local community. That's very important. The other thing is that the role itself is very interesting, it's challenging, it's got a real breadth and depth to it. There's some really interesting projects there to be done, some things that I've done previously, but also some things that I'd like to spend more time doing that I haven't had an opportunity to do a great deal of. So for example, with the commissioning, I do commission people to do some work with me at the moment in my current role. For example, I'm working with DB Cargo to get some train timetabling done within the college. So again, it's working with partners, it's working with different stakeholders to actually develop things, and that really excites me. In terms of what needs to be done, in the first month, it's very much about familiarisation and finding out who people are, what is it they're doing, what their priorities are, how things work, and what the culture's like in the organisation. The first month is watching and listening and finding out and asking an awful lot of questions. The second month is going to be getting to grips with the key priorities and actually finding out how those are going to be implemented. One of the key things I'd very much like to do is to make sure that by the end of month 3 that we have an operational plan in place so that I can actually get to grips with making those priorities come to fruition. For me, you've got a fantastic people strategy there. We now need to make that work with some milestones and some key performance indicators within that to work towards over the 3 or 4 years that we've got. So that would be my first and second month. Third month will be very much sitting down and making sure that what I've put in place in terms of planning gets started and starts to get done. The other question you asked me about was about developing or embedding a learning culture. The 4 areas of your strategy, the key one for me is the leadership development. If we're going to embed a leadership culture, it's got to come from the top. It's got to come from the leadership. So how is that programme being developed to develop the leaders? I'd certainly want to make sure that we actually have the focus there on a learning culture. Within the strategy itself, you've got a couple of key areas that I want to look at that are actually key to embedding a learning culture. One of those, and just excuse me, I'll just check my notes here. One of those was actually getting an approach to support staff to develop their skills, experience and careers. I think getting a group of people together to look at that, staff from across the organisation, representatives, to actually look at that will be a really key way of getting people involved and taking responsibility for developing this new approach. The other thing that I'd be keen to do was fairly quickly is to work with managers on developing those core skills that you want, those skills around leading change and developing people for the future. Those types of activities, getting people involved, getting their buy-in from day one with those is one of the key ways of actually getting that learning culture in place and getting it embedded. I hope I've answered all of your questions there for this short video. Obviously, at this stage in any presentation, I would ask if you'd like to ask me any questions. And unfortunately, I can't do that, but I would love to have the opportunity to come in and talk to you and hopefully answer some questions then. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.